And good morning from Australia. I'm joined here by the lovely Sam, and we're here to talk about the Serbian national final, which just finished. Now, Sam, we have a result, which we'll talk about in a minute, but what did you think about the show?
Well, as I said, I always love Serbia. They always put on a fantastic show. I love the stage. The stage was very big. There were fantastic graphics. It was definitely a very modern production, and I think it goes to show that Serbia is ready to host Eurovision if needed. Yeah, and it was a great show overall. As I said, the interval acts were great. I think it was fair that they interviewed all the participants. I like that. It's fair. But having said that, it did make the show extend quite a bit. I'm not sure if a 3.5 hour show is warranted, especially given like the ending is at like 1:30 Serbian time. But yes, overall a very delightful show and great to see an Australian co-host once again. Yeah.
Yes, he's wonderful, isn't he? I really like him. Yeah, I enjoyed it too. The staging felt very futuristic, and I noticed when I watched semi-final one earlier in the week how much silver there was. So it felt like it was a sort of a futuristic sort of
Mm.
staging, and those movements on the stage. It was beautiful. So, and I've got to mention all the costumes for some of those acts were incredibly well thought out. The production was slick. The pace of the show, yes, was good, the 3 to 4 songs and then going in and chatting to them. But you're right, it really did drag it out quite some. So let's talk about the result. Teodora with Ramondo. What did you think about that?
Well, I think it was generally my favorite of the night. It was the bookies' favorites and winning in a lot of the polls. I was a bit concerned, she had an early slot going on fourth and then performing after the second favorite. I was a bit nervous for that. But as I thought, it's a very haunting, magical performance, brilliant use of staging and special effects. I've written in my notes that she looked like a beautiful but tortured Serbian goddess. And I love the entire purple scheme of the staging, reflects the color of the, Serbian flower that's in the song title. Yeah, and I think it's great that the song is about, well, the song title at least is about a flower that's indigenous to Serbia, a bit of a native tie there without going full, with those ethnic instruments, which is typical of a Serbian entry. So, she did win the jury vote. She didn't quite get there in the tele vote, but I'm very, very happy with this result.
Yes, I agree. I like the way this song sits in the pack now with the rest of the songs this year. I feel that we've been screaming for, I'm not sure if you call it a ballad, but it is a softer song. And I feel that we've been screaming for this. This is something we've needed. It is beautifully staged. She actually reminds me a little bit of Laureen with, the black hair and the outfit, but obviously
Mm.
a very different song. But it's beautifully staged, and it's almost quite breathtaking, don't you think?
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like, yeah, very mystical and haunting performance,
Mm.
definitely. Very
Well,
Loreen-esque, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
haunting is a really good word to use. I really like what Serbia bring to the national final season because they don't try to do Eurovision songs. They just do what they think is good. And you only have
Yes.
to look at our last two entry or their last two entries over the last 2 years to see that. And this year really feels no different. It felt very Balkan. I liked it. Um, so
Yeah.
so after they performed, who did you think was going to win?
I did think genuinely Theodora. I genuinely thought she would have a good chance. I think Breskvika, the second favorite who went third on, I could sort of see why it was hotly tipped as well. With those very traditional instruments, and I liked how her costume represented the good versus evil nature of the song, and good obviously prevailing. I did think there was something a bit missing though, which is why I thought Theodora had the edge. And similar with Constructor, I thought maybe Constructor, given the name recognition, might do well. And it was a catchy performance by her, catchy song by her. But I think it was a little bit too similar to her previous Eurovision entry. Obviously, she needs to stay true to herself and what she believes in terms of music. But I do think returning artists they need to do something a little bit different so that it's not just 2.0. They need to do something to stand out because otherwise people are just going to think it's the same thing. So I think it was generally amongst those three. Yeah, those are the three I was expecting to do well. Plus Zorja, the fourth one, who was the I call her a Serbian villainess, and yeah, so I expected them all to do well, and the bookies thought so, and it turned out in the results they were the top four. Yeah.
Yeah, and look, I honestly I thought, gosh, any one of those four is going to win this. But you're right about Constructor. I wasn't quite sold on the copy and paste, really, to be honest. I don't like saying that, but really, that's how the staging really made it feel to me, with her sitting at the chair again. Um, I honestly did not know who was going to win, but who was your favorite, Sam?
Um, I think as I said, Theodora, but another I might quickly mention though another act that I thought stood out for the pact and I enjoyed. It was the male trio at song 10. I don't know how to say the band name. I think it's Kenny Nyamata. I might have probably butchered that, but whatever. I just thought it kind of broke up the show a bit because there were so many female ballads. And I just liked how they had a very striking performance with the pulsating rock song, great stage presence, intense light show, good looking guys with bleached hair. It just stood out for me. So yes, but I think as an overall package, Teodora is sort of the one for me and sort of up my alley in terms of Eurovision music and music in general. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Back to your point about the fellas on stage, you're right. There was a lot of female, 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 and the way they draw, I'm led to believe they draw the show by random. So
Yes,
all the
that's
men
right.
acts, it felt that they were quite pushed into the middle, which I think
That's
it would have
right.
been best
Yes.
to maybe, order it in a way to sort of make it a little bit fairer on everybody. I'm not quite sure, but
Yeah, that's why I was a bit worried that Teodora would be cancelled out because she was
yeah, yeah,
behind the second favorite and then surrounded by all those female ballady acts. It wasn't
yeah.
until I think songs started getting an up-tempo guy song. So, yeah, I think personally I prefer a random draw, but I can understand from a producer and viewing point of view why, given this like random draw, you would like to sort of stagger it a bit better. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it goes to show the quality of Taya's song then. If she was sort of in the
Mm.
beginning of the pack and you were worried about her being sort of drowned out by similar songs, it really has shone through, hasn't it?
Yeah,
So
exactly. I think, at the end of the day, if you have a good song, it doesn't matter where you are in the draw, you're gonna
yeah,
do well.
correct.
And credit to the runners up,
Yeah.
Breskva as well, Bresvika. She also won the televote at song 3. So that's a good effort by her as well. Yes.
Look, I just want to mention Zorja. She was my favorite way before we started doing the semi-finals. Those vocals, first time I heard that, my ears really pricked up, and her staging, just the black and as you said, sort of like a villainess. I loved her and I saw that on the stage. So while that was my favorite going in, I, really wasn't sure who was going to win this. I felt it was a four-horse race. Is there anyone else you want to mention?
I've mentioned the male trio, but also kudos to I think her name's Christina, song 5. I think
I've got her as I don't know if it's Christina or Ristina, but I've got her down as
Christina,
well.
sorry.
I don't know.
I'm not Serbian, so
Oh,
yeah, sorry. Probably Ristina, my bad. But again, I think, yeah, it was a bit of a shame that she came after second favorite than her. I thought again another beautiful ballad. That's one I had down in my notes. But yeah, just going on Zorja as well. Yeah, that was another good performance. I think very striking blue eyes against the black hair, background and outfits. So I wrote down like Serbian evil queen in Snow White. But yes, no, kudos to her. It was a really good effort. So yeah, I think like the ones we've talked about are probably the ones that I generally thought were really good on the night. Yes.
yeah, yeah. And her restraint, I feel terrible for not saying her name properly, but that staging, it wasn't until I watched it back that I noticed that she was actually on strings and was lifted into the air. Did you notice that?
Yes.
That was
Yeah, great vocal
spectacular.
control. Like you have to have a very strong core to be able to do that. So
Yeah,
kudos to her as well.
yeah.
Yes.
If that was me, I just would have been spinning around. It would have been terrible. There's also
Oh,
someone else.
don't worry, me too.
There's someone else I want to mention, and it's Zaina. I've
Mm.
got that song stuck in my head now. I love
Ah,
that.
yes, yeah.
I really want her
I
to go
think I know
one
which one you're
day.
talking about.
Yeah, yeah, it's great.
Mm. It's
So
got a
can we,
very viral appeal, hasn't it? Yeah, the sort of addictive
yeah,
hook in the
yeah,
middle.
it really
Yes, yeah.
does. Yeah. So listen, let's talk about the interval acts. At the beginning, of course, they did the ABBA thing again, talking about the 50th anniversary. Then the interval act was Zako doing all those his songs
Mm.
plus Kinez's Audio. Now that made my night. I think he's a wonderful vocalist anyway, and Audio is one of my all-time favorite songs. What did you think of the interval?
Well, yes, it was great to see Zelko again, and he is so well known in the Balkans for being one of the best songwriters that have come out of that region and delivering not just Serbia but so many different countries their best ever results at Eurovision. Bosnia and Montenegro got their best results thanks to songs written by him. But yes, it was great to see Adio. I think so many of us at Aussievision loved that song. It's just got a great sort of pulse to it. Yeah, it was fantastic to see him again, and I still reckon he could do it again if he wanted to. I don't
Uh-huh.
think he's too old at all. I think because of his genre, it's very classical, it's timeless. He can do it again. He should try next year, right?
I
Yeah.
agree. I agree. I agree. I think that's what we've been craving, a bit of a Balkan ballad, and he's a man for the job. I really do believe that. Now,
Mm.
you watched semi-final two and I watched semi-final one. Let's quickly talk about those interval acts. The first one was the medley of the ABBA songs done in different genres, and I was just enjoying it. I've watched it multiple times since, and my favorite was the old grannies doing the money, money, money. Did you watch it?
I can't quite remember off memory, but I did enjoy the interval acts. Like there was one about, I think Sanya doing Karia. That was my favorite out of the interval acts. I enjoyed that, sorry, because sometimes I use the interval acts as a chance to grab some breakfast.
Yes, I agree.
But I do out of the interval acts, I think Sanya doing Karia was my standout, and whoever did Fuego as well. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think the Serbians, you can tell they're so passionate about Eurovision by the tribute acts they deliver, but not just a cheesy copy and paste tribute act, but like with a bit of a twist and a bit of a flavor. So that was really good, and I'm glad you really enjoyed them. Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed Sonia too. That was my mouth just dropped. I thought, oh my God, she's nailing it. She did such a good job. So, last question: how do you think Tay is going
Mhm.
to go at Eurovision?
Well, I definitely think even though she's in the first half of the first semi-final, I think she should be fine in terms of qualifying. She's got Croatia and Slovenia there to support her. And they always love giving Serbia votes. Um, I actually haven't thought about it too much. I think probably as a typical Serbian result, I think like probably around mid-table in the final, I expecting doing pretty well in the televote. It'll be interesting to see whether the juries like it, given that it's quite a artistic and slower ballad, I think. So, because before Serbia has gone a bit out there the past 2 years, they've kind of had a bit more ballady this time. So, I think probably around mid-table, I'd say at the moment, but let's see how it goes. Like she might deliver really good staging at Eurovision and just change things up. So it's really up to her, like, how well she wants to do at Eurovision, whether she changes some things up. Yes.
Actually, now that I think, I wonder if Raven's a bit of a competitor, sort of closest to her song, maybe.
Yes.
Were you thinking the
Yeah,
same
from
thing?
Slovenia.
Mm,
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see how they go. I still think I feel like actually this song by Serbia is better, and also televote wise, Serbia seems to just automatically get more votes from the Balkan countries rather than Slovenia. So I'd say that she has the advantage there. This is the better song, but you do raise a good point. Will
mm,
those two cancel out? We'll just have to wait and see, I think.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
As for that song, I actually think she'll do quite well in the juries, and that might push. I'm talking about her getting through, by the way. I think
Mhm.
Serbia will actually be on the left-hand side of the scoreboard because I think the juries may like this. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. And you and me are both going to get to see this in person
Oh,
in
so exciting. I can't wait, Hayley. It's going to be great.
amazing. Okay, so that's what we think about Serbia. What do you think? Pop it in the comments below. Thanks, Sam.
See ya. Bye.